Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. We are step by step moving towards the end, but we are continuing our Pioneer Sleeper series today with Dominaria.
Yes, we could not get through the series fast enough, and before we get into Dominaria, go down, click a button, like, subscribe. If you're logged in. If you're not logged in, just sit back, relax, hang out, do whatever you want. Just whatever. Let's get into the content.
Text your buddies while you're watching the video. Tell them to watch Jake and Joel Are Magic on YouTube. Let's
watch another video while you watch the video. Watch a movie while you watch the video.
That's
cool too.
Videoception. I would love that. This is the Dominaria one. Like we've said with all of the videos, we are picking cards that are under $5 that we think have potential to spike.
That's right. And keep in mind, every Monday we're going through a Pioneer ban.
Right.
So, Veil of Summer, Oath of Nissa, Felidar Guardian, Leyline of Abundance, they've all been hit with bans, and what this means is that...
Felidar Guardian.
Yeah, the format is constantly evolving.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
Some of these cards that are low right now, they might end up spiking because certain decks fall out of the limelight, and other decks are given a chance to rise.
Yeah, if you're interested in these cards, we can't impress upon you enough. Go get them now. Let's stop with the caveats. Benelish Marshal is our very first one, and it benefits a mono white aggro strategy.
Yeah, you could call it Benefit Marshal.
Marshal.
Yeah, it's an anthem for white creatures, or actually other creatures, but It is 3 white, so it is pretty restrictive to what you're going to play it in. I would say 2 color at maximum, otherwise it probably doesn't belong in there, but it's a 3/3 for 3 with a lot of upside, so
Absolutely.
It's good to have on your radar.
Yeah, it was a house when it was in standard. It was absolute 4 of in the mono white aggro deck. I don't doubt that at some point someone's going to come up with a great list for the mono white aggro deck and in Pioneer, and this is going to be a card that is a 4 of. It has to be.
Oh, yeah.
I do think that it goes in a mono white deck. I think that playing this in a 2-color deck is a recipe for disaster, because you want to have this goes in a deck where you want to have a 1-drop, a 2-drop, and then drop this on turn 3, and you're swinging every single time. So having this in a multicolored deck is kind of a no-no in my opinion. Yeah,
I agree with you.
Let's move forward, and you'll see that we're going to cover the 3-color, the white, 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 blue, 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 red, 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 that rotation of Dominaria. There's 4 of them that are dope, and the second one is Tempest Gin. Yeah,
Tempest Gin is really cool. I think I've already played against this a little bit in Pioneer. This has popped up in a couple lists. And it's really good. If you're playing a mono blue tempo kind of build, this is one of those cards that's really excellent. It's getting a lot of upside for the number of islands that you have in play. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it other than that it's got a nice butt for 3 mana.
Yeah, it's gonna trigger off of all of the lands that are like Mountain Island and those, that kind. It's not just basic islands. No, it does. I'm absolutely wrong. It does say each basic island.
Yeah, basics. Yeah.
But in a deck like the Drake's deck or the Is It Phoenix deck, any of those, this is a possibility. We did see this card as a 4 of take down, I believe, the first Mythic Championship with the what's the enchantment that lets you draw something whenever the creature
Winged Worlds or
no, that's the draw spell, the Trail of Curiosity something. I can't remember the name of the card. Hang on, let me look it up. It's called Curious Obsession, and that was the deck that this card absolutely performed so hard in. After that, when we've got Goblin Chamberlain, this was another staple when it was in standard. In the mono red deck, this was the 3-drop.
Yeah, this card is really good, and it hits Planeswalkers as well. So it's one of those cards. I think the price on this is like $1.50 or $2 or something like that. And if mono red really takes off, I can't imagine that Chain Whirler gets left out. However, it is important to keep in mind that these decks are going to choose the best of the best in each slot. So whether or not Chain Whirler takes off, it's kind of just, if it's one of those cards that you think you want to play, that there's a chance you want to play it,
right?
It's just best to pick it up now. I'm not saying go out, empty your bank account, buy all these cards in mass, but it's just get in now while it's cheap. Just makes sense.
No, yeah, absolutely. The last of that cycle that we're going to cover is Steelleaf Champion. This one I think is already seeing play in the mono green lists. It's elf, that's relevant. It's a knight, that's relevant. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, relevant.
That's like so much icing on the cake right there. Like 5/4 for 3 is good by itself.
Right, exactly. But then you add some avoidance and 2 relevant creature types.
Oh yeah, dude. The card is nuts. It absolutely was a beast in standard. Actually, it was an elf knight in standard, but it's important to keep in mind, Dominaria was opened a lot, but there weren't masterpieces in it.
Right.
So some of these cards, they're going to get soaked up, and anybody who's interested in playing like Pioneer Elves, I mean, this is a turn 2. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it's really good. That's the last of the 3 color, the black, the 3 swamp one. It grows with swamps, and it's never really been relevant, and there's way better
it's like
3
a shade.
drops. Yeah, the shade. If you're going to play a mono black deck, there's way better 3 drops, and it's just not worth going monocolor for that card. Marwin the Nurturer, this is an elf relevant, druid relevant. Whenever another elf enters, it grows and it taps. I mean, it is at 3 mana, which can be slow for this format, especially now while it's new, at least in my experience playing it on Mitgo. But I saw this card do work in standard when it can get just grown and grown and grown, because you can put a weapon on it, equipment, and then it's tapping for more. There's different ways to achieve the goal of increasing Marwin's power so that the creature taps for more mana.
Yeah, dude, that's a really good point. Just being able to play, I know like in Modern, there's different types of elf strategies, and Legacy, there's different elf strategies. But one of the strategies has always been to play a lot of elves and then tap an elf that adds mana equal to the number of elves you control. So this is kind of like that type of effect, and being able to put something big in the deck, maybe the 7/7 with trample and haste that gives all your other stuff, X power until end of turn. There's a lot of really good ways to use this card. It's a card that I've always liked, and I'm very surprised that it hasn't really had any legs, and hopefully now it does.
Yeah, it never really took off in standard, you're right, but I think that, Pioneer opens up more tribal, which is the drum we've been banging this whole time. Sylvan Awakening here, if you want to play tribal lands, go ahead. Sylvan Awakening makes it happen.
Dude, this card is this is the exact kind of card, like play a ton of ramp, play whatever, and then play Sylvan Awakening. Just get through with all of your land.
Right.
But I honestly, I love this card so much. I think it's excellent. I'm surprised in standard it never found a way. But honestly, I think that's how standard goes. I think this is one of those cards that maybe was designed for limited play.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, get in with Sylvan Awakening at the end. Just turn all of your lands into, attackers.
Right.
But Pioneer is really cool because a lot of these cards that otherwise would just, fall into a bulk bin now get to have a chance to shine. And I think this card is really cool for like 99 cents or $1.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's got more enablers because of the format being wider. And so, yeah, I think there's absolutely potential, and it's super, super cheap right now. You want to talk about a house of a card? Let's talk about History of Analia and how when this rotated, the mono-white strategy became much less viable.
Dude, what a card. It had so much hype, and at one point this was, like a $20 card, and now it's down to like $2.50.
Right.
And we've already talked about these consistent bannings and how the format is constantly evolving. And you don't want to be one of those people that was like, oh, I think I'll sleep on History of Analia, and then all of a sudden it makes it into a pros deck and it starts to quadruple in price overnight, and then you're like, wait, oh, History of Analia is good. Oh, hindsight is 2020. The card historically, and it says history on the card, has performed really, really well. There wouldn't be a History of Analia if it didn't have a history of greatness and a ride to power.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to talk about an incredible 3-drop along with your benefit Marshall.
And it's not legendary.
No, I'm gonna skip past.
Like
I'm gonna skip past. Look at this. That's a knight. That's also a knight. And
exactly.
So we're
and
going to go
other
back.
Knights.
Spoiler alert, Shalai's the last one. History of Analia pumps your benefit marshal on the last mode there. And in the meantime, oh, no big deal. It just creates 2/2 Vigi creatures.
Yes, you have to look at a card and you have to say, how much value am I getting from this card? So from this card, you're getting 4 in power.
Right.
With vigilance.
Right.
And then you're also getting a buff at the end, and it's all for 3 mana. So you have to think, like, each turn you're getting passive value. It's just so much for 3 mana.
Absolutely. And a lot of times in Standard, I mean, this is obviously a 4 of in a deck that wants to run it. So
100%.
A lot of times you'll have 2 in your hand in a game. And there were many games of Standard where I saw History of Analia get jammed on turn 3, History of Analia get jammed on turn 4, and there's just like 2/2 knights entering the battlefield. There's an anthem. Next turn, there's an anthem. And it just, that combined with something like Unbreakable Formation just absolutely makes this deck hell to deal with.
Sure, Unbreakable Formation, but then also Teferi comes to mind. Yeah. Play turn 3 Teferi, wait until you're about to get your final part of the saga, and then instead bounce it back to your hand, play it again, and now you're like, I want to keep doing this whole I get 2/2 Vigi Knights thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Our last one, you've already seen it. It's Shalai, Voice of Hexproof. This one was running around. It's normally like card, it's a 1 or 2 of in a deck that wants to run it, but this deck, you're absolutely right. I don't even care about from here down, we don't really care about this. All we care about is you, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have Hexproof.
Oh, dude, and I actually can't believe that this card is so cheap. I do get for a format like Pioneer that it's a little bit slow.
Sure.
But the fact that Shalai comes with a 4-butt for 4 mana is just, you could make this card like a 1/4 or a 0/4 and it would still be good in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. It is one that I think will have relevance. I think that, maybe for Pioneer it's a sideboard card to come in against a black-green deck. I definitely have played against a couple of black-green Doomblades. I was kind of memeing calling it that because those are the colors that have the best removal in the format, and there's a couple of games I've played against a deck in those colors that just felt like they were running, 18 or 20 removal spells, and then like one good creature that they were going to try and protect at the end. So this kind of card is going to shut that strategy down.
Oh yeah, dude, this is one of those cards that's so vexing because if you don't have the Assassin's Trophy, if you don't have the Murder, if you don't have the hard removal, it's most likely going to take 2 burn spells from a red deck. I don't think a lot of people are playing Lava Coil in Pioneer.
No, closest I've seen is Lava Axe, where you got to discard a card or pay an extra 5, and so they could possibly shoot it for that.
Yeah, I think Lava Axe is a great card, but that's the kind of thing, like, you have to think most likely this card, if it's not a straight up removal, it's going to 2 for 1. So
yeah,
it's a really nice card for like $1.50.
Yeah, absolutely. That brings us all the way back around to Benefit Marshal and the end of our Dominaria Pioneer sleepers. If you have any that you think we missed, please drop them down in the comments below. If you want to support us further, besides just clicking a button down there, we got a Patreon. The link is down in the description. And don't forget, we are streaming twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday nights, over on Twitch. Jake, that's the info dump. I'm tapped out. What else you got?
That's it, man. And if you want to go to Twitch, you can go over there and you can watch me eat.
Yep, absolutely. Jake's over there streaming Jake Eats Noodles over Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific. We'll catch you later. Enjoy your noodles, Jake.
See you later.